episode for higher GC News. Bima Ubibia Aquaba had the latest hot and qua Aremeyaw Bromo. Erunti Sawunya subscribe to channel idea, but Modia say over subscribe. The bayan say over click a year subscribe button. Na wabele notification. We answer video for be upload on when the first person once ebeka a video. I feel we are now like video. Give us a thumbs up. Now fee. Share my wafufro so na when you be here now and somewhere koso ewo Ghana be mo hanom afi ye hwe eye somewhere abeto ye pono so yiti eye sankomo ya ba beto ya sa report mama yiti.
How were they when they were in office? How did they perform? Transparently? Neutrally, in the interest of the people? Did they do that? What? This is the kind of thing I just hate. Pure hypocrisy. Apart from hypocrisy, I mean, the exclusion of honesty, of public interest in our political space is very, very troubling. Very troubling. Saying these things before the elections, when on social media it was a common thing, describing the court as
unanimous FC.
Unanimous FC. Was it President Mahamadu who was doing that? They were in power. When those publications, what steps were they taking? Dapaah. What did he say? That's an honest man.
It makes the point that the court should sometimes balance their rulings.
Yes.
In the interest of preserving the security of the country.
Yes, that's an honest man. Are they like that?
But was it right for him to have said so if the court is really implementing the law?
Implementing what law? If they were, what was the cause for him to be apprehensive? I mean, was that the first time courts were in existence and performing? I mean, anxiety doesn't just spring from a vacuum. No. You look at the trend. Public perception, unanimous FC. Was it happening or not?
Today there was a unanimous decision in court.
Yes, but that was peripheral. That was, I think, to exclude Bafoboni. That was the only issue. But the more important is 3-2. Now look at the empanelments and see if that panel had not been reconstituted. You think it would have come 3-2? I mean, for how long have you not had unanimous until? So you go, I mean, what is the impression then? So long as Torkonoo puts panels that give unanimous decisions in their favor, that is justice, isn't it? But if it is valid, it goes ahead and hey, I mean, that's the scenario. That's the scenario. That's pretentious. It's not even pretentious, it is blatantly, I mean, unacceptable. You can't just see the tide of events. Why is it that? Oh Lord, I'm coming.
Yes.
Even the very events happening, you see that there's a deep political element. Why is the MPP and they are championing this cause like that?
They say they are defending democracy.
That's democracy, because when she's there, it is okay. Unanimous panels always in their favor. That's democracy. That's the democracy they want to entrench. I've seen that scanning through the events in the courts. That is rubbish. That is, I mean, I don't know what word to use. You ordain a dictatorship in place. You have been overthrown through the ballot. Your last citadel is the Chief Justice. You are battling. Hey, if this one falls, we are all out. That is what is happening. That's how I see it. I can't be wrong, but that's how I see it.
So the suspended Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkonoo, is on suspension pending the determination of some cases against her. We are told 3 petitions against her. First, let me ask you, is the process fair? As far as you are concerned, the process that she's been taken through, is it fair?
Well, it's a constitutional order in place, and it's being pursued. Unless we are saying the Constitution itself is unfair. If it is, who is to blame? Is the whole society put it in place? If it's to be amended. And why suddenly these notions of unfairness and so forth? Because it has been there all these years, and the allied provisions have been applied in relation to the former chairperson of the Shiraj,
right,
and the Electoral Commission.
The Electoral Commission.
These are similar processes, and I mean, they were seen as due constitutional processes. So what is so special about this? I don't know. Yeah.
You do not think that the president has erred in any way?
Oh no, except probably at the beginning the impression was that I think she wasn't given copies of the petitions or whatever.
Yes.
But that was done subsequently. And,
but the way and manner in which it was done, did the president offend the law by not getting her to understand the issues that were against her before she had the opportunity to respond?
Oh, I don't quite get that, because all that is necessary is to serve her with copies of the petition. And there you see the allegations leveled against you, and then you start your responses, and then in consultation with the Council of State, they put the two together and see whether there's any worthwhile matter to pursue. So I think she herself asked for 7 days.
Right.
But the president gave her 9 days.
Actually 10 days.
10 days. Oh, yeah, so what is unfair there? Yeah.
The argument here, and if you can help us to understand it, the judiciary is an arm of government.
Yes.
So is the executive and the legislature.
Yeah.
Those who are against what is happening now, and they are saying that it is persecution rather than the law at play, say that an attempt by one arm of government, in this case the executive, to remove another arm, the judiciary, is unhealthy for our democracy.
Yes, separation of powers, but there are checks and balances also. If every arm is self-sufficient, where would the balance come from? It means everybody can be a dictator in his or her field, and there'll be rancor, and who is to hold things in place. The president nominates the Chief Justice in consultation with the Council of State with approval of Parliament. And those are the initial stages. I don't know why. Well, of course, when things happen after legal provisions have been put in place, you now see that maybe some other alternatives could have been pursued. But we are talking strictly of the separation of powers. You find the president is elected, he is the head of the executive. But he can be removed from office by parliament.
Right.
Which is a legislative arm. You know. Are we saying that that's anything? Now, if you overpower one arm, make it all in all, tyranny is not far away. Yeah, because you can make inroads. Yeah, and people tend to be used to their own terrain.
Right.
And want to enter the, you can naturally meet resistance. So they're saying that the Constitution should have placed the removal in the hands of the judges themselves, or what? I mean,
but is it? I mean, the Constitution is clear under what circumstances a Chief Justice can be removed.
Yes, yes.
And the President in this case is only a conveyor belt.
Yeah, yeah.
But some people on the other side find this offensive because they make reference to comments that were made by some elements of the NDC, including the President, when he said in opposition that there was a need to reset the judiciary. And they see that the reset agenda is what is playing out. Now, and the first casualty is the Chief Justice, even though finality is just to be brought on her matter.
Yeah, what's wrong with it? If the question is not whether something was said at one time or another, it is the basis of what was said. Well, what is proper and right at any time remains so, you know. So, was it only the President? I think some of you people came here and talked about some of these matters. Was it the President who started calling the Supreme Court unanimous FC on social media?
Yes, exactly.
It was
President Mahama.
Yes. Was he the one who started calling the Supreme Court unanimous FC? Or he was stating a fact of public knowledge? It was a public outcry. And I said here before that the courts belong to the people. And that's where I find trouble with people who get power. You look at the Constitution, everybody's a trustee on behalf of the people. Article 1, Clause 1. The sovereignty of Ghana resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of government are to be exercised in the manner and within the limits laid down in this Constitution. So, no matter who you are, the powers vested in you belong to the people. They are the sovereign power of the country. You are answerable to them. It is for their welfare and interests that the powers have been given to you. You see? And now let's look at 34.1. The directive principles of state policy contained in this chapter shall guide all citizens, Parliament, the President, the Judiciary, the Council of State, the Cabinet, political parties, and other bodies and persons in applying or interpreting this Constitution or any other law, and in taking and implementing any policy decisions for the establishment of a just and free society. This is the golden thread that runs through all powers.
Right.
So they are all accountable to the people. And everybody, you know, when you look at the directive principles, I don't need to go through, but they are all designed to obtain the maximum interest and welfare of the people who are the sovereigns of the state. You go to 125, Article 125, Clause 1. Justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. So, justice emanates from the people, and the judiciary is to administer it for and on their behalf. So they are trustees of that power on behalf of the people. And Clause 1, Article 1, Clause 1 says, all powers are to be exercised for the welfare and interests of the people. And so everything in the state belongs to the people. As far as public ownership is concerned. And so are all the institutions of government. And that's why judicial proceedings, even as a constitutional provision and at common law, are to be held in public.
Right.
Only in exceptional cases, they can hold proceedings in camera. Very limited situations. Otherwise,
mostly even at the discretion of the Chief Justice.
Yes, the court is itself, the court sitting on the case, they determine. And now, why do they say the proceedings must be in public? Because the courts belong to the public, and they want the people to be in there and see how justice is dispensed. Whether it's satisfactorily dispensed or unsatisfactorily. And for them to take appropriate remedial actions. That is it.
This particular matter, and I've heard the former Chief Justice of Akufo.
Yes.
In this process to review our constitution.
Yes.
So he made the Constitutional Review Committee. And she makes the point that the process that is enshrined in the Constitution, the roadmap for the removal of a Chief Justice, is unfair. And that is unfair, and that something must be done. Some of us suggested that the threshold is so low that it leaves room for manipulation by an executive president. I don't know what you make of this.
Oh, I don't know what threshold, because when you look at Article 1466 or so, relating to the removal of other Superior Court judges, and then Shiraj, and so for allied. I mean, they require a prima facie case, and that's what was imported into the Chief Justice removal process by Agyapong and Attorney General case. And prima facie case is acceptable in the common law world. Even in criminal trials, it obtains. At the close of the case for the prosecution, there's no prima facie case. The accused is to be acquitted. So the formulation, I have not seen the authoritative formulation of prima facie case in relation to constitutional administrative process like this. But ordinarily, I mean, we all should have an idea about what prima facie is. If at first sight, on the plain assessment of the matter, you know, first impressions, obvious impressions that drum up from a situation of evidential, facts. I mean, I don't know what else somebody would like about that. Because the trial itself is different from the initial. Prima facie is meant to, like Agyapong case explained, it's meant to weed out frivolous petitions. So if a petition on the face of it doesn't hold water, you know, you don't process it.
And it's very interesting that part of, I mean, this whole exercise is supposed to be held in camera.
Yeah.
There should be secrecy covering it. Unfortunately, in this case, a lot of the issues that were supposed to be held in secret is already out there in the public, including even the petition seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. Interestingly, some aspect of the petition went to former President Akufo Addo. The matter was referred to the Council of State. It was dismissed outright. Now, it has found favor with the current president. That is what people think, that this may be politically influenced rather than, you know, establishing a case of impropriety against the Chief Justice.
Well, let's look at it. See, this country, people like to pretend a lot, and that's my problem with Ghanaians. What necessarily shows that what Akufo Addo did was without politics. What is inherently non-political there? What are the sound reasons that we know that would justify what were the petitions he dealt with? People don't deal with those. I would just, you know, I know how this country operates. I don't move anywhere, but I follow things, you know, and I think about Ghana a lot. I mean, political polarization. Somebody's camp does something, right or wrong, because it's their camp, it's perfect. Another one does it, same thing, even maybe better. Oh, no, everything is wrong. That's what's happening in this country. I tell you plainly, that's my assessment of things. And it doesn't help us. The only good thing is that the ordinary people are beginning to, you know, stand up to their rights, to read through situations and take proper decisions concerning political, you know, actors. That is a saving grace. If it is sustained, you know, that can help, you know. And I mean, all this hula baloo, I don't know. They should have marshaled the facts pertaining to the Akufo Addo dismissal, the type of petitions, and then we compare with this and see, then we can see our way clear. That hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. And it's difficult to happen until everything is resolved. But Ghana being what it is, everything is supposed to be secret. Actually, the provision, when you read the provision on the proceedings, it gives the impression that it is an actual investigation that should be secret. But the Supreme Court in Agyapong said it applies from the very beginning. From the very beginning. Up to the end.
But in this case, that secrecy that should be expected has been exploited.
Yeah. In what way?
I mean, people are speaking to it, even when the suspended Chief Justice wrote to the President expressing her unhappiness about the fact that the President had received a petition. It took days, and she was unaware of the content, yet it had been forwarded to the Council of State. She wrote to the President, it got leaked in the media. And so the secrecy that should cover the entire process has been abused in a way that for a lot of people is unacceptable. And that is what gives credence to people's assertion that this may be staged after all.
Even the very first petition under this constitution, it took the same vein. Even it was more publicized than this. The person who wrote the petition, I think, sent it to the media, all kinds of people. And the court faulted that. And they were saying that everything should be secret from the beginning to the end. And forwarding the petition to the Council of State is in line with the Constitution, but that's what the Constitution directs the President to do, you know. And that's not a leakage. It's part of the constitutional process.
But sometimes when you hear government operatives speak to the matter, is that even when the petition went before the Council of State and they deliberated upon it and they came to voting, out of the 31 membership, 30 voted that there's a case for the Chief Justice to answer. The only person who abstained, according to government, some government appointees, the only person who abstained is her ladyship, Sophia Akufo, and she abstained because of conflict issues. So to the extent that even what was deliberated in camera is now a matter of public discourse.
Yeah, so that's why I said there's a lot of pretense in our national life. How did that happen? This was sent to the council. How did people get to know what happened there? You know, and it just shows that people go about nosing into these things, spying, kind of. And the very people complaining, I mean, who may be complaining, maybe those complicit in these acts. I've seen that these petitions, some of the contents have been splashed on social media. And the Chief Justice...
Even the Chief Justice's response?
Yes, yes, was also splashed.
Is it right?
Well, it's not right, but who causes it? Are you saying that is the President who caused these publications, or the Council of State? I mean, you are the media, you can gather that evidence for us. Who caused these leakages? It's the system. Our political system is jaundiced, as you know. People, they spy on each other. You know that activities leak to each other. I see these things on social media. Who is behind those things? Some of them, they themselves, you know. And in any case, when we talk about these sort of things, I think when the Chief Justice was given the copy, I think she also leaked it to the media or something. The President complained that she
yes, this was the letter she wrote to the President, and even the President complained that even before he got it, it was already in the media.
Yeah, it's not part of the process. Who leaked it? Was it the President? And even, I don't know. You see, these days, I'm afraid of picking my information from the social media, because you can find completely distorted facts. I don't know how people are able to do those things. Let me just give you some example. I saw on social media that on May 5th, I granted an interview to, was it your Joy or some TV station? And I was saying that when the President is removed, when the Speaker is removed, why can't so. May 5th.
The May 5th yesterday.
Yeah. That publication is there. Look at that. It's the kind of thing that happens. And us, the publication is by some of your counterparts. The media does that, you know. And you talk of secrecy. I don't know whether it's true, but I read on social media that the Chief Justice was appealing to certain foreign powers, Canada, UK, US, also to
intervene.
Yes. Is that part of the secrecy process?
But in view
and those criticizing, what have they said about that? That's what I hate about this country. You look at one side and fault it. Your side does the same thing. You've seen nothing. It's correct. Nonsense. It's
but personally, where you sit, do you trust in the credibility of the process in view of all the issues around it?
Oh,
the MPP poured on the streets yesterday.
Yes.
Describing President Mahama as a tyrant, as a dictator who is seeking to, to collapse an arm of government and facilitate, a third term in office.
Now, look, you are a well-informed journalist. You've been following the operations of the government since '92. I mean, will you be impressed by such a statement? How were they when they were in office? How did they perform? Transparently? Neutrally? In the interest of the people? Did they do that? What? This is the kind of thing I just hate. Pure hypocrisy. Apart from hypocrisy, I mean, the exclusion of honesty, of public interest in our political space is very, very troubling. Very troubling. Saying these things before the elections, when on social media it was a common thing, describing the court as
unanimous FC.
Unanimous FC. Was it President Mahama who was doing that? They were in power. When those publications, what steps were they taking? Dapaah. What did he say? That's an honest man.
It makes the point that the court should sometimes balance their rulings.
Yes.
In the interest of preserving the security of the country.
Yes, that's an honest man. Are they like that?
But was it right for him to have said so if the court is strictly implementing the law?
Implementing what law? If they were, what was the cause for him to be apprehensive? I mean, was that the first time courts were in existence and performing? I mean, anxiety doesn't just spring from a vacuum. No. You look at the trend. Public perception, unanimous FC. Was it happening or not?
Today there was a unanimous decision in court.
Yes, but that was peripheral. That was, I think, to exclude Bafoboni. That was the only issue. But the more important is 3-2. Now look at the empanelments and see if that panel had not been reconstituted. You think it would have come 3-2? I mean, for how long have you not had unanimous until?
And that's why some people have issues with that and say that the repaneling resulted in the decision going against the applicants.
Yes.
If the old panel had sat, they would have affirmed the applicants' relief, seeking that the president, is enchanted from suspending the chief justice.
Now that's troubling. Why are they so sure? Are they the panel? Why are they so sure that should have gone that way? That's the unanimous FC that was playing out, and that should be sustained. That's what they are fighting to sustain, and they are wrong.
But does that feed into the public perception that the new addition may be working towards a certain political direction?
Oh, now let's look at it this way. You are a journalist. You just take time and go and get the panels on constitutional cases since these people came to power. And when I'm speaking like this, don't think that I'm for anybody.
Right.
I'm not for anybody.
Of course.
If I were to follow political leanings, I was PFP candidate for Pagachana constituency, 79. That's these people now NPP. I should have been. I don't have time for those things. They are not. They don't yield good fruits. That's why I quit politics. Now, so you go, I mean, what is the impression then? So long as Torkonoo puts panels that give unanimous decisions in their favor, that is justice, isn't it? But if it is varied, it goes ahead and hey, I mean, that's the scenario. That's the scenario. That's pretentious. It's not even pretentious. It is blatantly, I mean, unacceptable. You can't just see the tide of events. Why is it that? Oh Lord, I'm coming.
Yes.
Even the very events happening, you see that there's a deep political element. Why is the MPP and they are championing this cause like that?
They say they are defending democracy.
That's democracy. Because when she's there, it is okay, unanimous panels always in their favor. That's democracy. That's the democracy they want to entrench. I've seen that scanning through the events in the courts. That is rubbish. That is, I mean, I don't know what word to use. You ordain a dictatorship in place. You have been overthrown through the ballot. Your last citadel is the Chief Justice. You are battling. Hey, if this one falls, we are all out. That is what is happening. That's how I see it. I can be wrong, but that's how I see it.
Then it will appear that our Supreme Court is politicized.
Certainly. Certainly.
But that's not good for a healthy democracy.
Certainly not. And look, the variation of the panel, I would have. Is it? Look, I mean, who didn't vary a panel? There was one, I think it was about, is it, whose case? Opuni or something?
Opuni, yes. At some point there were issues with the panel.
Yes. Wasn't it varied?
Opuni had issues with the trial judge.
Yes.
Raised issues about his affiliation with the MPP.
Yes, yes.
Took the matter even to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
At every stage he lost.
Yes. Yes. And the issue of starting the proceedings afresh, I think, eventually landed in the Supreme Court.
Right.
It's a panel of 5. The matter was virtually ripe for decision. She reconstituted the panel, took her 3, and presided herself. Was that not a re-empanelment? The decision went in favor of these people. Didn't they celebrate it? That is sweet for them. This thing has happened, and when you look at it, you know, I'm a bit naive because my life is more of church and these sort of things. Even when I was on the bench, I was more to the church side. At the time of the unanimous FC, what was happening? Bafuboni, Kulendi, Puamang, this man who was coming, Tanko. These were fairly senior judges. How often did they get onto constitutional panels? How often? Why was it so? Were they not members of the Supreme Court? Were they not seniors? Well, that's what I'm saying. Please do that research for me. Go and get the empanelments on constitutional cases under Torkonoo. And you see the trend. Let's put pretense aside. Let's look at what is good for Ghana and get that done. Until that is done, we keep on moving in circles.
At the court, for example, in a matter that the Member of Parliament for Atta brought before the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Even before they went into the injunction application, his lawyer, former Attorney General for them, had raised issues about the presiding judge, the acting CJ, sitting on the panel, and makes the point that the acting CJ taking part in that decision, obviously on the background that he is a beneficiary of the vacancy created by the absence of the Chief Justice, and for that reason it was not going to be fair in terms of the determination of the application he had put before the court. And you think he didn't have a case?
Beneficiary, I mean, I would have liked to see further and better particulars about this claim of
because he's now in acting capacity as the Chief Justice. In the event that the suspended Chief Justice is removed, he may likely continue as a substantive Chief Justice. And so a case before him, which borders on the suspended Chief Justice, and he had a decision to make for the position taken by the former Attorney General. He had compromised himself.
Okay, let's...
And that matter was dismissed unanimously anyway.
Well, look at that. That's why I say, let's put pretense aside. And I'm telling you, this country, if we are not able to exercise political poison from our governance system, we'll continue to suffer. Now, let's wait a minute. Before her suspension, when this challenge came, I mean, when the process was commenced for her removal, and Godfrey Dame and others brought suits, injunction. Who empaneled?
The suspended Chief Justice.
She had no interest in her own matter?
But she was not on the panel.
No, but, I mean, look, empaneling involves picking and choosing.
Who to sit?
Yes. And you think she had no interest in that? Huh? Of course, there have been some decisions saying that the Chief Justice is the only person who can empanel and nobody if she's around. With hindsight, I think that those decisions have to be looked at again.
The paneling?
No, the fact that so long as the Chief Justice is in office, he or she must do the empanelment. Must be looked at again. Because, yes, they quote the provision that makes her the head of administration in the judiciary. But they overlook the introductory was subject to the provisions of this constitution.
Right.
It's not just you are the head of administration. And even if that subject were not there, it would be implied because, as I said, Article 1 and so forth, all powers are to be exercised in the interest and for the welfare of the people. Subject to that. So any step that detracts from that is unconstitutional. Now, so subject to the provisions, one of the provisions, Article 296, I think clause B, is saying that all powers must be exercised with candor, with transparency, all those things. That should affect the Chief Justice too. Her powers are not free from that article. And Ajechum, Dateba, one of the the best judges in this country, very brilliant man. He said that the Chief Justice and Parliament were subject to that provision. And the others agreed with his view. So you see, some of these things, they don't look at them very, very carefully. But it's important. I'll stress some aspect about that before we.
Okay.
Yo, it for when a reporter abato yapono make say so when you subscribe to channel idea bomodi say over subscribe. Now while like video no give us a thumbs up na fe share ma wo foforo so na we be here na wo hu ensemo ekoso e wo Ghana memo anam. Also betimi atchere wadwen afa eye some we nyina ho e wo comment box mu mobati minkabi in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.